Welcome back to
Hello.
LexiMind. This is the channel where books meet language learning. Today, we're diving into an absolutely fascinating book called Why We Sleep by neuroscientist and sleep expert Matthew Walker. So, if you ever find yourself dragging through the day, or if you just want to level up your English while learning how to literally transform your health, well, you're in exactly the right place. Here's our roadmap for today's explainer. First up, how sleep works. Next, the costs of sleep loss. Third, dreams and better habits. And finally, the best part, our LexiMind vocabulary builder, where I've got 8 key English words lined up to really boost your skills.
All right, Section 1, how sleep works. Let's get right into the biology of rest.
Matthew Walker hits us with this massive idea right out of the gate. He says sleep is an active biological necessity, on par with food and water. We spend a third of our lives doing, well, seemingly nothing, right? And in our modern hustle culture, people sometimes think sleeping a lot means you're just lazy. But Walker totally flips that script. He shows us that resting is actually this incredibly critical, active function that keeps us alive. Think about it. You wouldn't just stop drinking water to save time. So why on earth would you stop sleeping? Okay, let's dive into this. Our sleep is basically run by 2 completely different internal systems that work closely together. On one hand, we've got the circadian rhythm. That's your internal 24-hour clock, and it's mostly driven by the light around you. It's what tells your brain, hey, it's daytime, or okay, it's nighttime. On the other hand, there's adenosine. This is a chemical that builds up in your brain every single minute you're awake. It's kind of like carrying a heavy backpack. The longer you stay awake, the heavier that backpack gets, building up what we call sleep pressure. And when those 2 systems line up perfectly at night, boom, you fall asleep. But here's the thing, once you drift off, your brain doesn't just shut down like a laptop. We actually cycle through 2 main types of sleep roughly every 90 minutes. First, there's non-REM sleep. This is your deep sleep, and its main job is to lock in your memories, which, by the way, is absolutely perfect for us language learners trying to remember new vocabulary. Then we switch to REM sleep, which stands for rapid eye movement. This is a super active brain state tied to handling your emotions and sparking creativity. Both are incredibly vital, and they do totally different jobs for us.
Moving right along to Section 2, the costs of sleep loss. Let's look at the mind and body deficits.
So, what actually happens to our bodies and minds when we skimp on rest? Well, the magic number is 7 to 9. That is the hard biological target of hours that adults need every single night. Walker makes it very clear. If you drop below that 7-hour mark, you are instantly creating dangerous deficits in your body. And the really scary part? Sleep is not a bank account. You can't just swipe a card and catch up on it by sleeping in on the weekend. It just doesn't work that way. And this brilliantly illustrates exactly why hitting that 7 to 9 target is a complete game changer. Let's talk about the brain. Good sleep gives you laser focus and a sharp memory, but less than 7 hours, you're looking at severe attention loss. What about your heart? Normal sleep keeps your cardiovascular system humming along, while lack of sleep actually spikes your risk for heart disease. And your immune system? Sleep is your literal armor against getting sick. Lose it, and your immune response just crumbles. It is truly a hidden health crisis. One of the most terrifying costs of this sleep loss epidemic is something called micro-sleeps. Have you ever been driving on a long, boring stretch of highway, and suddenly you realize you have 0 memory of the last 10 seconds? Yeah, that was probably a micro-sleep. These are brief, totally involuntary moments where your brain literally shuts off and goes to sleep, even with your eyes wide open. Walker points out that driving sleep-deprived causes impairments that are just as bad as drunk driving. It makes lack of sleep a massive public safety hazard.
Section 3. Dreams and better habits. Time for some overnight therapy.
Remember REM sleep from a minute ago? That's when we have those vivid, sometimes completely bizarre dreams. Walker beautifully describes this state as a form of overnight therapy. Think about all the stress, the anxiety, the tough emotions we deal with every single day. Well, when we dream, our brain actually processes all those heavy feelings in a chemically safe space. It softens the painful memories so they don't sting nearly as much the next morning. Plus, all that weird dream logic helps connect random ideas, giving us those amazing aha moments of creative problem solving.
So what do we do if we're really struggling to get some shut-eye? A lot of folks just reach straight for medication, but Walker is pretty tough on sleeping pills. He argues they just cause artificial sedation, they chop up your sleep, and they actually block that crucial REM sleep we just talked about. Instead, he's a huge advocate for a natural therapy called CBTI, which stands for Cognitive Behavioral Therapy for Insomnia.
It helps you fix your daily habits and actually tackles the root causes of why you can't sleep, rather than just knocking you out artificially.
Luckily, the book gives us some incredibly practical, everyday steps to upgrade our sleep hygiene right now. Number 1, keep a strict schedule. Go to bed and wake up at the exact same time every day. Yes, even on the weekends. Number 2, cut off the caffeine and alcohol late in the day. Remember, caffeine literally blocks that sleep pressure we need to feel tired. And number 3, keep your bedroom cool and dark. That sends a powerful signal to your internal clock that it is time to rest. And now we've made it to my absolute favorite part of the explainer, Section 4, the LexiMind Vocabulary Builder. Go ahead and get your phones or computers ready to snap some screenshots. For the next 8 slides, we are diving into some fantastic B1 level English vocabulary taken straight from this book. Let's grow that vocabulary.
Our first word is epidemic. Epidemic. This means a sudden widespread occurrence of a problem. Usually, you hear this used for diseases, but it's absolutely perfect for massive social issues too. Here's our example sentence. Sleep loss is a hidden epidemic in modern society. Go ahead and take a quick screenshot of that definition.
Next up is deprivation. Deprivation. This is the lack of something you desperately need to survive or be healthy. This ties directly back to Walker's huge warning about missing our required 7 to 9 hours of rest. For example, sleep deprivation can make you sick and tired. Grab a screenshot of that one too. Now here's a slightly scientific but super useful word. Circadian. Circadian. This describes anything related to a 24-hour cycle in biology. It is the key to understanding our internal body clocks. Let's look at the example. Light helps control our natural circadian rhythm. Try saying that one out loud with me. Circadian. Moving right along to consolidate. Consolidate. This means to make something stronger or more solid. Do you remember how non-REM sleep helps language learners lock in new words? Well, this is the exact verb for that. For example, deep sleep helps the brain consolidate new memories. So, when your head hits the pillow tonight, your brain is going to consolidate all this new vocabulary.
Another really crucial concept is vulnerable. Vulnerable. This means being easy to hurt, either physically or emotionally. Walker talks about this crazy evolutionary mystery where sleep is so absolutely essential that animals do it even when it puts them at massive risk. Here is the example. Sleeping makes animals vulnerable to danger. Make sure you've got your screenshot.
Now, what's really interesting about this next word is how it ties back to our chat about sleeping pills. The word is sedative. Sedative. A sedative is a drug that makes you sleepy or calm, but as Walker warned us, sedatives do not give you real, natural rest. Check out our example sentence. Many people use alcohol as a sedative, but it ruins sleep. If you are tossing and turning at night, you might be dealing with insomnia. Insomnia. This is the medical condition for the inability to fall asleep or stay asleep throughout the night. We touched on this when we talked about sleep disorders in Part 3. Here is your example. Cognitive therapy is a great treatment for insomnia.
And finally, we have hygiene. Hygiene. Now, you probably know dental hygiene, like brushing your teeth. It generally means practices to maintain health and prevent disease. But guess what? It applies to your bedtime habits just as much as washing your hands. For example, good sleep hygiene includes keeping a cool, dark room. Make sure you've snapped your final screenshot.
So that brings us to the end of our explainer. I want to leave you with one final, provocative question to chew on. Will you change your sleep habits tonight? Now that you know the science, try your absolute best to get those 7 to 9 hours so your brain can consolidate all this fantastic new vocabulary. Thank you so much for joining LexiMind today. Keep reading, keep practicing your English, and I will see you in the next explainer.